I'm really sad to announce this, but I'm going through a really hard breakup. I am breaking up with Tretinoin. I am finally done with it, and I'm never going back. So let me give you some backstory. If you have not been following me on Instagram, I actually talked about how I'm just so done with Tretinoin. It's a prescription strength retinoid. It's basically the retinoid that we have most of the data on that shows that it does basically everything that you want a skincare ingredient to do. It helps to stimulate collagen production, elasticity, to even your skin tone. It's just that gold standard, all-encompassing ingredient. And it's the ingredient that you try to get to when you're using your retinoid. So we all know that there's like retinol esters that are really gentle for your skin. There's regular retinol, there's retinaldehyde, and then there is retinoic acid, which is your tretinoin. Because I'm a skincare fanatic and I want my best skin ever, I constantly get FOMO when I see people talking about tretinoin. There are people I know who use tretinoin every single night and their skin looks flawless. And I'm always trying to achieve that. I'm like, oh my God, this is the skin that I want. And the only thing I can think is I need to get myself on tretinoin. So I've been in a roller coaster relationship with tretinoin for over a decade, and at this point, I've decided we're too toxic for each other. It is not working out, and I have to officially break up with tretinoin because it is not the skincare ingredient for me, unfortunately. I first started using tretinoin when I was around like 27, 28. I got off of birth control and my back completely broke out. Like my husband, I remember when I met him, he would like joke that I was like a steroid user because I'd have all these like breakouts on my back and everything, and I was really paranoid about it. And even though he was joking about it and like trying to make me feel better by making it a joke, I was super paranoid of my back. And this went on for like 2 years where I was getting these consistent breakouts on my back, and it got really bad. And that was one of my first experiences where I was like, I waited a little too long to go see a dermatologist for some help on this. I waited like 2 years to really figure out what to do with it. So I went to a dermatologist, and the first thing they gave me was tretinoin. And I had never used it before. And the unfortunate part about this is that the dermatologist told me nothing about how to use it. I didn't know how strong it was going to be. I didn't know how many times I was supposed to use it. She basically handed it to me. I was like, use this every single day. And that's it. Just said, use this. It should clear up in like a month. Cool. Sounds good. I used it every single day, and I was like putting globs of it. Cause again, no one told me to use just like a little bit. I just thought like, I'm going to use it like a moisturizer. Globs of it on my back. In like a week, my back was sore, red, irritated, but I kept going. I think I took like a 2-day break, and then I just like went back hard on it because I just like wanted to destroy the acne on my back. And sure enough, after a month, my back was completely clear. It was also super sensitive and super irritated, but I did not care because I just wanted that acne to go away. So to me, I was like, this is a miracle product. I need to use this all over myself. So again, because I had zero instruction, but I'd heard of tretinoin and people talk about how they use it, I decided to try it on my face, and I immediately regretted it. No one had given me any instruction, and I just went hard for like 2 or 3 days and immediately ended up with super irritated skin and perioral dermatitis. That was like the first thing that happened to me. I had to get off of it. I had to go back to the dermatologist and say, what am I dealing with? What do we do with this? So then I had to get on all these other prescriptions to help calm that perioral dermatitis. And then I just stopped using tretinoin for a little while. Then fast forward like 6-7 months later, I was talking to my dermatologist about my skin, and she was like, you need to use tretinoin. And I told her, remember the last time I used it, my skin was like a complete mess and it gave me that dermatitis, all of that stuff. She's like, oh, right. Let's switch you to a different kind. She switched me to a different one and a different percentage. And sure enough, like a week into it, perioral dermatitis, like it was a mess. I got off of it again, and I was like, I'm not going to do this again. And then I kind of went on a cycle like this for the next decade. Truly, I'd go get a facial or something, and the esthetician would use some kind of a treatment that has tretinoin in it as well, along with like other ingredients. So maybe like a chemical peel or like a cream or something that she would use to like finish off her facial. And I'd be like, oh, this is amazing. I love the results that I get from this. And then I'd get back on tretinoin and I'd end up with irritated skin, and then I'd get off of it. So it just turned into the cycle. And you guys know, I know how to do all of the different tricks, right? Like use the sandwich method to wait till your skin is dry, to only use a pea size. And even on this last try, I actually worked with Apostrophe and the dermatologist that they have, working within the system. And I got so many different prescriptions from them with tretinoin in it, different percentages, different compounds with different ingredients to help calm it or like make it less, irritating potentially. It doesn't matter. My skin gets so super irritated. And this last time was it for me. I got perioral dermatitis again. And this one was the hardest to deal with because because I'd gone for probably the last like 2 or 3 years feeling like I had my skin in a really good place using just my regular retinoids, my retinaldehyde and my 0.05% retinol. Like I should have just stuck with that. Instead, I decided to push it and I ended up with this dermatitis. And that experience made me hate my skincare routine. For the first time in a long time, I suddenly didn't enjoy, it didn't feel like self-care, like a self-care ritual like it usually does. It instead felt like I was on this mission to destroy this dermatitis that I was dealing with so I could get my skin back to normal. It just took out all the fun and the pleasure of doing a skincare routine, especially at night, because I was so regimented. I had to get on all these different prescriptions, these topical antibiotics. I had to, like just be really careful. I couldn't use my retinoids anymore. I could barely use any exfoliants. And it was a good reminder that when you get your skincare to a certain place, maybe you should just stick with that. You don't have to have more. You know what I mean? Like it really was a good reminder that just because this is the go-to ingredient that so many people swear by, it doesn't mean it's the ingredient for me. It doesn't mean that it's the ingredient for you, or maybe it's the ingredient for you, but maybe it's not for me and for other people. And that is okay. It took me over a decade to come to this conclusion. I've already known this stuff. It's one of those situations where, like I can give all the advice in the world and I don't take my own advice. And that's what I experienced with tretinoin. And I finally decided after this last experience with that dermatitis that I just need to give up. I'm in my 40s. It hasn't worked out. Like, it's just not gonna work out. Tretinoin and it's not gonna be. But here's the good news. There are actual studies that show you can get just as good of results, maybe not as quickly, but you can get just as good of results using your regular retinol and your retinaldehyde. I actually follow Victoria and Gloria from Chemist Confessions, and they posted this study on Instagram that showed you can get really good results with your regular, more gentle retinoids, and that gave me so much relief. I was so happy to see this. They explained it so much better than I could ever explain it, so I'm just gonna share their video right here.
Do you guys suffer from tretinoin FOMO? You definitely shouldn't, and here's a really good paper that tells you why.
This paper actually looked at the two ingredients on a 1-to-1 ratio. So they studied 0.1% retinoic acid compared directly with 0.1% retinol, which doesn't even seem like that much retinol, but the findings are very interesting.
One of the things what they did was looked at slices of skin to monitor the behavior of these two to see if they are actually similar. In the 0.1% retinol skin slides, they did see an upregulation of collagen 1 and 3 and also epidermal thickening, which is the same behavior as retinoic acid. You're not really losing out on that skin benefit.
They also looked at a clinical study. In the 12-week time, both cells with the 0.1% retinoic acid and the 0.1% retinol improved the appearance of wrinkles.
Even though the magnitude of improvement for retinol is smaller, it's not as small as you think. That magnitude of improvement is actually by more than 50%, and a lot of times we always think about retinol as like being 10 times less effective.
If you're like me, where you struggle enough with a retinol, find a low dose retinol that you're comfortable with using, find the frequency that works for you. You don't always have to continue to level up until the moon.
Now I know you're wondering, well, if it's not tretinoin or a prescription, then what do you suggest using? I knew you were gonna ask that. Don't worry, I came prepared. So for anyone that's looking for a beginner, gentle retinoid, I highly suggest the one from Hero Cosmetics. It's the Rescue Retinol Nighttime Renewing Cream. This has a 0.75% retinol blend. And what that means is that it is not 0.75% retinol, it's a blend of ingredients that include retinol. So you don't know the actual amount of retinol that you're getting in this blend. So you can just assume that it's probably a little bit more gentle. That said, it's encapsulated. So even at that lower percentage, it's still stabilized and you're probably gonna see some really great results from it. The other thing I love about it is that it's super creamy and moisturizing for your skin. They use the Rescue Balm Complex, which is another product that they have, as like the moisturizing base for this. So it really does feel like you're using a moisturizer. I always love a moisturizing retinoid. It just makes your skincare routine so much easier. If you have dry skin, you can obviously put another moisturizer on top of it. But if you don't, you can actually just make this like a one and done skincare product, meaning like you just wash your face, put on your retinol cream, and you're good to go. That makes life so much easier because you just got everything that you needed, one product, solid. Next, you know I'm gonna recommend the retinoids that I have within my own skincare line, NATURIUM. I love our retinoids, obviously. I'm biased, but I also think they're really nice retinoid products because I know everything that's gone into the formulation of them. My personal favorite is our Retinol Complex Cream. Again, it's like one of those one and done products where it just makes my life so much easier at night. If I feel like I just wanna wash my face and just use one product, that is my go-to because it's creamy, it has beautiful lipids in it that help to moisturize my skin. I can use it every single day because it's gentle enough that I can, get the results that I want, but it's not going to irritate my skin. We also include encapsulated retinol, which means that it's gonna keep it stable, it's gonna deliver it to the right place, it's gonna penetrate your skin slowly, so you just get really nice results with less chances of irritation. Remember, we're talking retinoids here, so the chances of irritation are always there, but we obviously try to do things to get ahead of that. Of course, if you can handle it, I highly recommend bumping over to a Retinaldehyde. So of course we have our NATURIUM Retinaldehyde Cream Serum, which I love. It's such a beautiful, light formula. I feel like everybody, no matter what your skin type, can use these. We have two different percentages, our 0.05% and our 0.1%. The 0.1% is a little strong for me to use on a regular basis, so I'm very much a 0.05% girl. I've decided this. Even with regular retinol, I'm a solid 0.05% girl. When I just try to tiptoe over that percentage and I try to go every single day, and I mean every single day usage, which is what I feel like you should be aiming to do, is try to use your retinoid every single day. When I try to go higher than 0.05%, that's when my skin starts to act up. So you can imagine what happens when I skip over to Tretinoin. My skin just goes bonkers when I try to do that. I have enough confidence now and experience to say I'm a solid 0.05% retinoid girl. That is me. Next up, I think Stratia Skin just in general does a really good job with their skincare products. They also have a really nice retinol cream. It's called Night Shift. It has 0.15% encapsulated retinol in it as well. It's super creamy. It has a really nice texture to it. It also has a couple of ingredients that are really nice to soothe and nourish your skin, which is especially great when you're using a retinoid. They have a ceramide in it that helps to just keep your skin barrier intact. And then there's also Centella asiatica, which has just really great studies in helping to soothe your skin. Going up a little bit in price, but I still think is a really great value, is the Farmacy 1% Vitamin A Retinol Serum. This one's really cool to me because it has a combination of retinaldehyde and also an encapsulated retinol. So you've got the A retinol and the O retinol combined together. It also just feels like a nice light serum. It has some really nice light soothing ingredients in it. And I just feel like if you are trying to get more bang for your buck, you might want to try something like that combines the two different types of retinoids. And then the priciest retinol on my list that I really do love. I don't ever feel like you have to spend this much money on any of your skincare products, but I do really enjoy this product, and that is the Alpha H Beauty Sleep Power Peel. This one I pull out when I want to get a little spicy and I want to do my power move with my skincare routine, especially at night. And that's because this one has 14% glycolic acid in it and also 0.5% retinol in it. My skin loves this stuff. It does not irritate my skin. I can actually use it 2 or 3 nights in a row sometimes, and my skin just looks super flawless. I can't begin to explain it. There's something about that combination of doing that glycolic acid with your retinol, that 1-2 punch. I call it my power move. It is so awesome if your skin can tolerate it. So I really just love this product from Alpha H. It's also just really hydrating. It feels kind of like you're putting on a really thick moisturizer, and it sits on your skin kind of like a sleeping mask instead. I find that in the morning it's completely absorbed into my skin, and I can also put another moisturizer on top of it, but I'm a dry skin girl, so do with that what you will. I feel like this is just a really nice formula, and I love that it just combines the glycolic acid with the retinol for me, so I'm not trying to guess what's going to work out. Those are my recommendations when it comes to retinoids that are not prescription. Remember, if you can handle prescription strength Tretinoin or any of the other prescription strength retinoids, obviously do it. I just advise you to make sure you're working with your dermatologist because these are prescription drugs at the end of the day, so they are strong. They're meant to be strong. And just remember, you don't always, I'm saying this to myself too, you don't always have to use the same ingredients that you see other people getting great results from. It doesn't mean it's always the ingredient for you. Skincare is personal. I always try to remind myself this and remind everybody else this, and what works for you might not work for me and vice versa. So keep that in mind, and I'm officially taking my own advice and I'm done. I am done with Tretinoin. I'm going to stick with my 0.05% retinol or retinaldehyde. That's what works for me, and it gives me my best skin, and I don't want to deal with perioral dermatitis anymore, ever again. Hopefully I never have to. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. You can find me on social media. I'm at Susan Yara, and I'll talk to you soon.